You're listening to the ADHD Support Talk Radio podcast. ADHD Support Talk is brought to you by addclasses.com. Visit www.addclasses.com and sign up for free webinars and online events today. Hello and welcome back to ADHD Support Talk Radio. I'm your co-host, Lynn Idris, and I'm a productivity coach. So I help overwhelmed professionals reduce procrastination, improve time management, and get more done with less effort so that they have more time, energy, and bandwidth for what matters most to them. As you guys know, I'm a woman with ADHD myself, so I have been where so many of you are, and I've come out the other side, so to speak. I've gone from living in that constant state of chaos and underperformance we all know far too well, to living a life of more success and fulfillment than I once dreamed was possible. And I know each and every one of you can share the same success yourselves. You can learn more about me and what I do at www.coachingadvantages.com. And if you sign up at www.timetothrivegroup.com, you can join me for my free live 5-week group coaching program with some of the top ADHD experts in the world that's starting on January 11th. So just go to www.timetothrivegroup.com to save your spot and get ready for the live program today. Well, I thought I'd do something a little different today, something a little fun. Every once in a while, I think it helps to take a look at the lighter side of life with ADHD. I know, of course, that it's not all sunshine and roses having ADHD or living with someone who has ADHD, but we do some funny stuff sometimes. And I think if we can keep our sense of humor about us, it definitely helps. And I know I for sure would be in a rubber room locked up somewhere if I did not have a sense of humor about myself and the crazy stuff that I do. So years ago, I had started a document that I had completely forgotten about called You Have ADHD When. And I just started putting in the crazy stuff that I did that was pretty much attributable to my ADHD and, my brain. I had forgotten all about it, honestly. And then, a few months ago, I had an incident that really cracked me up, something that I did that I shared with some of my Facebook groups, and that kind of prompted me to remember. So I'll tell you the story that prompted me to remember that I had created this document, and then I'll share with you some of the things that I've done over the years that, are good, straight up in your face reminders of my ADHD. And then some of the things that some group members shared with me that they've done to, kind of help us remember that it's not all awful. And even when it is awful, and even when, we're struggling, there are still things that we can find some humor in. So a couple of months ago, and this is what I posted on social media, I had ordered groceries for pickup at a different store than usual using their app, which was new to me. And I'm not new to the whole grocery pickup thing, but this app was different than the ones I've used in the past. And I thought I ordered 4 lemons, but apparently I ordered 4 pounds of lemons and did not realize that it was some $18 and something worth of lemons. So I ended up with 3 or 4 dozen lemons. So I'm unpacking my groceries, if you can imagine this. And there's 1 bag of lemons, 2 bags of lemons, 3 bags of lemons, 4 bags of lemons. And I'm like, what the heck? Right? How did they screw this up so bad? And how would they think, anybody would want this many lemons? So I dig out the app and I'm looking at the grocery receipt and I'm like, I did that, right? That was totally me. I never realized I put almost $20 worth of lemons in my cart and checked out. And having, ADHD in my personality, I go right to, okay, how can I make the best of this situation? So I made lemonade and lemon squares and lemon margaritas and froze lemon zest. And I made trays and trays of lemon juice ice cubes, which I'm probably going to have for the rest of my life. And odds are really good are really never going to be used. And that prompted me to remember that document that I had created years ago of things, the crazy things that I had done called You Have ADHD When. So I'm going to share some of my You know you have ADHD when stories, and then some of the things that were shared with me in the Facebook group. And I'm hoping that you guys will visit us in the ADHD Support Talk Facebook group and share your own you know you have ADHD when tales, stories, and we can all kind of laugh together a little bit at the things that we do that are just so crazy with our ADHD. So some of mine that I came across that made me laugh out loud were, you know you have ADHD when you pour juice on your kids' pancakes instead of syrup, when you catch your microwave on fire defrosting a blueberry muffin. And yes, it can be done if you put the muffin in for 20 minutes and 5 seconds instead of 20 seconds on power 5 and then go off into your AD brain and go somewhere else. My kids still tell this story all the time. Full on flames in the microwave from a frozen blueberry muffin. You know you have ADHD when you pay for your food at drive-through window number 1 and go home without picking up the food at drive-through window number 2. I cannot tell you how many times I have done that. I've said good night or have a great evening or take care to the cashier at window 1, and either I get home or I get partially home and I remember that I never got the rest of the order. Let's see, setting off the smoke alarm, boiling water. That's like not even worth listing because I think it's happened so many times and we've probably all done it so many times. But I have actually, back in the day, my son had a friend over and I put my son and his friend in the car, buckled them up, counting heads, 1, 2 kids in the car, and pulled off, leaving my daughter on the sidewalk. I just remember counting 2 heads and pulling off and looking up in the rearview mirror and seeing her little face with those big eyes as I pulled away without her. Another thing, this one, I still do this all the time. You know you have ADHD when you randomly say the wrong word or phrase in the context. So saying I love you to a coworker rather than God bless you when they sneeze, or sweet dreams to your child instead of have a nice day as you send them off to school. That is something everyone in my house expects from me. You know you have ADHD when you put fabric softener in the washer instead of detergent, which is exactly why I don't even own bleach anymore. I don't even buy it anymore. I've done that so many times. You know you have ADHD when the clerk at the customer service counter finds your husband's freshly laundered sock in the bag of return items. You know you have ADHD when you pour coffee all over your shoes when you check the time on your wristwatch. Okay, I want you to think about that mental image there. I've done that several times as well. You know you have ADHD when you show up at work with 1 black shoe and 1 blue shoe because you forgot to finish the task of deciding which one looked better with the outfit. You know you have ADHD when your kids laugh at you when you tell them you're going to implement a new behavior chart system at home. You know you have ADHD when your husband or child tells you where they're going, you kiss them goodbye, and you have no idea where they are 30 seconds later. You know you have ADHD when you regularly pull laundered Post-it notes from your dryer. You know you have ADHD when you can't remember whether you actually shampooed your hair before you put the conditioner in. You know you have ADHD when you find surprises in your own pockets on a regular basis. Tickets, cash, appointment cards. And you know you have ADHD when you show up for your doctor's appointment on the wrong day. And you would love to blame it on the receptionist, but you can't actually be too sure. So I want to share with you some of the things that members posted. Those are just a few of my you have ADHD when stories. But I want to share with you some of the things that some of my Facebook group members shared in response to my post about the lemons. The thing that really cracked me up about the post about the lemons is in the one group, it actually degraded to a post. All the comments took a turn and everybody started sharing recipes about, that included lemons and asking for recipes that included lemons, which totally cracked me up because it took such a quick, kind of side turn and went down a different path. Diane said, you have ADHD when you find your iron in the fridge. When you misjudge distance when you set down dishes on the shelf and break them. And she says, when I cook, I can be messy, so I'm always prepared to take at least an extra 10 minutes to clean a mess or a break. Someone says, I Still lock my keys in my car a lot, but a lot less often. Aubrey says, I once tried to streamline my college courses to make my day on campus short and sweet. I landed 3 classes with only 5 to 10 minutes between each. And it wasn't until my first day after my first class, when I was asking for directions, that I learned I had chosen classes at 3 different campuses. That's a hard one. Terry says, my family says the only way I get new glasses is if I lose the ones I have or I break them, including running over them with the car or the rototiller. I love that. Absolutely love that. Jester says, have you ever had the experience I'm having where someone reminds you of something you'd rather forget, like the time I put diesel fuel in a brand new car? And a whole bunch of people responded to that one. Someone replied, I rented a car in Spain and put diesel fuel in it. So that apparently is not an uncommon thing. And Missy says, you have ADHD when you go to the grocery store, pay for your groceries, walk to your car, and drive home without them. Absolutely. When you take a coworker out for lunch on her birthday, and after the meal, she goes to the restroom and you pay the bill and leave without her. I could definitely see that happening. Let's see. Missy also says, you have ADHD when you look everywhere to find your phone and finally find it in the freezer. She said her friends call these Missy moments. Yep. My friends will say that's a Lynn. Absolutely. Dawn says the running joke around my house is that every Amazon package is like my own Christmas gift because I forget what I actually order after late night online shopping. And then Kathy chimes in, I never remember what I order from Amazon. Sometimes it's a bummer and sometimes it's a thrill. It's like being on my own game show. Totally cracked me up, and I think we could probably all relate to that and to this one as well. Tracy says, you have ADHD when you arrive in the basement, look around, and wonder why you were there. You go back upstairs to continue what you were doing, then remember why and go back down. Yep, that's just another day in my house. Absolutely. Carrie says, you have ADHD when you are gardening and someone comes running out of the house saying that the tortilla you had on the stove is in flames. And Carrie says, I haven't done this in years because now I have a keep eye contact policy. So they keep eye contact on whatever they're cooking. And that brought me back to the whole, frozen blueberry on fire, with screaming kids and smoke detectors and a ruined microwave. I'm still hearing about that one all the time. Talking about how we play accidental hide and seek with ourselves, which always cracks me up. I can hide things from myself on purpose and then be surprised on purpose, which my family thinks is a riot. Laureen says, I found some stocking stuffers the other day from last Christmas. Gwen says, you have ADHD when, while looking for something in one of my paper piles, I came across last year's birthday cards for my sister and brother-in-law, addressed, sealed, and stamped just in time for this year's birthdays, right? Let's see. Trisha says, on several occasions, I've accumulated late library fees from returning books about helping me improve my ADHD. Oh, the irony, right? Shell says, when you are so proud of yourself for being on time for your phone call appointment with your psychiatrist, only to find out you're 24 hours early. Absolutely. Shirley says, when I sit down at the computer to pay a bill and I hear the dishwasher finish, I go to unload it, but realize I'm thirsty and start cleaning the cupboard where I got the glass because somehow it still got marks in it. Then I go downstairs to find a new sponge, see that there's laundry to bring up, and so on and so on. And a week later, remember, I didn't pay the bill. So for those of you who have ever read the children's book series, if you give a mouse a cookie, if you give a pig a pancake, if you give a moose a muffin, there's a whole bunch of them. That's us, right? I've often said for years, I'm going to write a book called If You Give an ADD Mom a Mr. Clean Magic Eraser. That's how our brains work. And it totally can be hysterical if you let yourself laugh at it. Let me see. Sabrina says, you have ADHD when you walk the 2 blocks between your front door and your car 4 times. First, because you forgot your keys. Second, because you forgot your wallet. Third, because you forgot the package you were going to mail and the whole point of going to the car. And the fourth, because you put your keys down at some point while looking for the package. And that one really cracked me up. It reminded me, if you're listening to this, Lisa, my neighbor across the street, when my kids were little, once said she and her daughter played a game to guess how many times Mrs. Idris would go back into the house before the garage door went back down for good. I think we can all relate to that. And then there was a whole string of people who shared stories about lost car keys that weren't really lost, that were misplaced. Lisa said, when you know you have ADHD, when you park your car at work in a hurry because you're late again, then leave to go home and can't find your keys, rip apart your office, your purse, the lunchroom, the refrigerator, and go wait by your vehicle for AAA to unlock it, and you notice your car is running. Keys are not only in the ignition, the car is running with the stereo going and the AC on. And that a whole bunch of people replied to that one. Jenny says, my fiance has ADHD. And the other day we were going on our usual walk and he turns to me out of the blue and says, it's probably going to hurt. And he pauses and then says, let me have the whole conversation again out loud from the beginning with you. That's a really typical ADHD thing there. We call that in my house, my daughter will say, retrace the thought trail for me, Mom, when I bring something up that is either completely unrelated or seems unrelated, but I've had a whole process of thoughts that connect those things in my mind really quickly before I actually say anything out loud. Marie says, you know you have ADHD when you're talking to someone on the phone while also trying to get out the door and panicking because you can't find your phone. And laugh, of course, because you realize you already have your phone to your ear. I think we've all done that. Glasses on your head. I mean, the stories can go on and on and on. I hope you guys found this a little humorous, a little, light. I hope you also remember to join us in the ADHD Support Talk Facebook group and share your ADHD stories and have a chuckle with us. Again, we all know ADHD isn't sunshine and roses. We all know it's not all fun and games, but finding the humor in the things we struggle with is a really helpful coping mechanism. And if you enjoy this podcast, if you enjoyed this episode, if you find the podcast helpful in general, please do your fellow ADHDers a favor and give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. The more 5-star reviews we have, the more people can find us. So until next time, again, this is Lynn Idris. I hope you found some humor in this. I hope it brought up some of your lighter moments with ADHD so that you can make life a little bit easier on yourself with a sense of humor, right? Thanks again for listening. As always, I appreciate your attention, and we'll catch you next time on ADHD Support Talk Radio podcast. Take care.